All right, so this video is going to be a discussion about the character portrayed by John Boyega in The Force Awakens. And right out of the gate, I just want to hand it to the actor, John Boyega, for an outstanding performance. He was very entertaining, very believable in his performance. I love what he did with the character, and of course, the delivery on some of those great lines, like, "Yeah, this is what the resistance looks like." John Boyega, you were a big deal in The Force Awakens, and I got to tell you, in the theater on opening day, you got a ton of laughs and great responses from the audience there. So John Boyega plays the part of a stormtrooper of the First Order. He does not have a name. He is designated Foxtrot November 2187. And from these numbers, FN 2187, the Resistance pilot, Poe, sort of dubs him Finn, which is what sticks through the rest of the film. So Finn is raised from birth, because this is how things are done in the First Order, is that children are taken from birth and then raised within a military setting, and are, politically speaking, indoctrinated or brainwashed into into the way of thinking of the First Order. Besides all the military training and I imagine the aspects of loyalty and courage and devotion to the First Order and to the empire that they are trying to reboot, there's also a political indoctrination that people like Luke Skywalker are what is wrong with the galaxy, politically speaking, and it is this dangerous idea of democracy and the republic that need to be wiped out and erased, so that the order and whatever proponents of the empire or a tyrannical style government can then be established. So these are the ideas that Finn has been spoon-fed from birth. There are some things that his character does that are very unique, and I want to discuss those things, and then maybe throw out some theories here as to why his character is able to do the things that he does. Now, in The Force Awakens, Finn does some unique things. He breaks away from the First Order. He disobeys a series of direct orders. He goes AWOL. He then ultimately winds up in that process of going AWOL. He fires upon and kills members of his First Order group. So he effectively becomes a traitor and commits treason against the First Order, a group that he has been brought up with and is all that he has known from birth. So he does all these things. And then ultimately, in the course of the film, he does some other things. He joins the resistance. He also fights with a lightsaber. And I think also notably here, he falls head over heels for Rey. So a lot of things happen here with the character Finn, and I want to just kind of discuss what makes him a unique character and why he's able to do the things that he does. So one theory that I just want to throw out here right out of the gate here is it's very plausible and very possible that Finn does the things that he does because it is purely a literary device. It is something that needs to happen for the storyline to move forward and to create interest in the character of Finn. And that would be plausible and acceptable. And I got to say again to John Boyega, your performance certainly sells that very well. So in that case, there's nothing else to see here, folks. Please move along. Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. Finn is Finn. He is who he is, and there's nothing deeper than that to any of this. There's a possibility. I want to throw out here another possibility, and this possibility or this theory might be that Finn may be force sensitive. Why would I suggest that? Or why would I possibly theorize something like that? Well, you don't see any of the other stormtroopers in his unit doing the things that he does. Pausing to reflect upon his orders, considering what is being done, coming up with a moral evaluation of his own, and then deciding to follow that rather than the orders that he's been given. He also successfully overcomes all of the brainwashing that he has been spoon-fed from birth. So this is actually a really amazing thing when you consider what he's accomplished here, just in these things alone. It makes me wonder if there's possibly more here under the surface. You know, regarding this, there's a specific sequence in this moment when his unit is given orders basically to exterminate and fire upon this village on Jakku. And he, in the process of that happening, begins to have second thoughts or doubts about the commands that have been given, and then does not follow through. And he has this couple of seconds that are brought on screen where he is making eye contact with Kylo Ren, and it's like beat, and then it moves on, but the two definitely make eye contact. In fact, later on, when Captain Phasma makes a note of the fact that one of the troopers is not following or not complying with orders, Kylo Ren immediately identifies who it is. So they share this moment on the field of battle. Another hint that might play into a theory that Finn is a force-sensitive person. Here's another one, and that is the fact that he is drawn so deeply to Rey. Another thing that makes me think that this could be a possibility for Finn's character in the future is the way he handles a lightsaber. Now he's been receiving military training all of his life. So in that regard, he is definitely, here at the peak of his skill. He's a young man in combat. This is what he knows. He knows what to do in this arena. However, he's not handled a lightsaber before. Now, in the original film series directed by George Lucas, if memory serves me correctly, George Lucas coached the actors portraying Jedi or Sith that the lightsaber was a fairly difficult weapon to handle. And he coached them to always hold it with both hands. Then in later years, when the prequels were being developed, of course, this is portraying sort of a golden age of the Jedi at the height of their power and their abilities, and a lot more leeway was given in terms of what they were going to do with the lightsaber, how they were going to be portrayed, handling it, etc. And they did a lot more with the fight choreography um, in those films than had ever previously been done before. It was exciting to watch. And what J.J. Abrams is doing in this film, on that thread of thought, I think is he's making a return towards something like that in terms of what's going on with the combat. Although I must say the lightsaber combat is pretty elemental. It's brute force kind of thing. There's nothing glamorous, so to speak, in terms of the choreography. But I will say that it does seem to stand out to me that someone with zero training with a lightsaber, a weapon that is unique to Force users, is able to handle it with the dexterity that Finn handles it. He handles it when he faces off with one of his former fellow stormtroopers, and he does very well with it there. And then he faces off with Kylo Ren with a lightsaber. The lightsaber of created by Anakin Skywalker, also later used by Luke Skywalker. And I gotta say, Finn, I went into this movie predicting that Finn was gonna get his butt handed to him in that fight, and he does. He's wounded very severely in that fight. But before his wounding, he does get some licks in. He handles himself okay there at the beginning. And that's pretty amazing, considering, that the lightsaber is something that is traditionally a weapon that is unique to Force users. So all of those things combined sort of play into this possible theory that should the Jedi Academy get rebooted, it may very well turn out that Finn is discovered to be Force sensitive because of all of these things, these hints that we've seen leading up to it. Just very briefly, I want to throw one more crazy theory out here, and that is, what if none of this is, of these choices that Finn makes are by mistake? What if this is actually a part of a subversive plan by much higher ups to allow one of their own to sort of break through the psychological training and then be embraced by the resistance, who will, of course, take him into higher levels of intelligence within their ranks, hoping to tap what he knows about the training and et cetera, et cetera. Sort of like a Manchurian candidate, if you will, someone that they've allowed to be turned over to the resistance so that at the appropriate time, a switch will get flipped and he will then betray everyone around him and do something that will perhaps break down the resistance itself. Because you see, very rapidly, he is embraced by the higher-ups and is actually introduced to General Leia Organa. So just thought I'd throw that out there. Honestly, I don't think that's it. His performance lends me to think that this character is genuine and is not a spy. But anyway, those are some theories I thought I'd throw out there. Maybe you have some other ideas about Finn and where his character is going. Of course, we know on the romantic level, he is head over heels for Rey, who is now most definitely going to be trained in the ways of the Force. Will it play out that this new batch of Jedi students are in fact, trained in the tradition that Jedi are not to have romantic relationships? And how would that affect Finn? For that matter, how would it affect Rey, who is has feelings, some feelings for Finn, because at this point he's the only person in her life that has kept his word about coming back to get her, because she was abandoned as a child and no one came back to get her. But Finn does. So there's definitely a bond there, and we'll be seeing how that plays out. Anyway, post your ideas or your commentary here, and maybe you have some other angles on this that I haven't thought of.